Hey guys, there are two main things that might hinder the quality of today's Musecast episode, though they probably won't because I'm a professional and that's how I roll. Number one, it's effing hot in LA today. And number two, I'm a little bit distracted because we're moving. Hey guys, so I've been trying to do this script frenzy thing for the past couple of weeks, so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about screenwriting. More than where my ideas come from or where my stories come from, I wanted to talk to you about the actual how-to that I use to approach screenwriting. One of the first things that you're going to want to think about is formatting. If you don't get the format exactly right, it's going to mark you as an amateur to anybody who knows anything at all about screenwriting, so it's really important that you get it right. Now, you can read a lot of scripts and try to figure out the formatting on your own, and you may be successful, but there are also other tools that you can use. There are lots of programs that you can download off of the internet. You can also buy some at stores like Best Buy or anywhere else that sells computer programs, which is where I got my final draft, which is the industry standard. The reason that this is the industry standard is because it's so easy to use. As long as you can press enter and press tab, you too can format like a pro. Now, the next thing you probably want to focus on is how to structure the story itself. While there are no hard and fast rules, there are a couple of guidelines. For instance, you probably want to end your first act somewhere around page 30, your second act somewhere between page 70 and 80, and your last act somewhere between page 100 and 120. The way that I outline my screenplays is like this. I have 4 pieces of paper, and in the first one, I break it up into 3 different sections, putting the first and last scene of each act in each one of the 3 parts. Then I break the acts down even further, putting the first and last scene or beat as established there, and then I just kind of plug in all the important scenes along the way, so that if something happens over here that doesn't make sense given the last thing that happened over here, I can just plug it in right there. I do that for all 3 acts, and then I'm ready to start writing. Now, there are a couple of things that I've learned since I've begun screenwriting. One of them is this kind of cute way to remember how the 3-act structure works. Basically, it says, Act 1, get your hero up a tree. Act 2, throw a rock at him. Act 3, get him down. Another thing that I've learned is actually just from watching a lot of movies. Basically, at around the 10-minute mark of pretty much any movie, your setup has been established, you've met all your main characters, and the conflict is officially stated. So what I like to challenge myself to do is on page 10 of any screenplay that I write, I like to have that inciting incident on page 10, the thing that's going to get the plot moving, that clearly establishes the conflict. The last thing that I've learned that I want to share with you guys is this thing that I read a while ago. It basically says, your story lives in the gap between what your character expects to happen and what actually does happen. So if your character expects A, B, and C to happen in that order, and you give him A, B, and C in that order, don't write that scene. That has no place in your screenplay. Put B before A. Make C not happen at all. Make A be something completely different. If you give him exactly what he wants, that's not a scene that you should put in. Your story lives between what he expects to happen and what actually does happen. And sometimes that gap can be pretty small. I'm going to the refrigerator to get some orange juice. At Zook, there is only milk. That is not what I expected. I'm going to walk into my hallway where nothing special will happen. You're my evil doppelganger. So that's it for this week. Hopefully you guys learned something, or at the very least are inspired to get out there and write. As always, thank you for watching. Come back next week.